okay, the AFL have announced that they've completed their first round of fixtures, but they're suspending league play until the 31st of May. That's 9 weeks from now. It does raise the question why the AFL decided to kick off the season for this first round of fixtures and why they decided not to delay the start of the season to at least the 31st of May, which would have been a prudent choice considering what's going on in Western Europe, North America and parts of Asia with professional sport basically in lockdown. So it does raise the question of the AFL's handling of the coronavirus situation. They did play the first round of matches behind closed doors. Now, the next set of pressure now falls on the NRL. The NRL played 2 rounds of matches. The first round of matches was played in front of fans. The second round of matches was played behind closed doors. Now, sources coming out of Australia and the Australian media, Fox and Channel 9 and such, and ABC, are suggesting that the NRL wants to continue playing as long as possible. They've already decided to move State of Origin to the end of the season, and all test matches around the Anzac Day test between Australia and New Zealand and other test matches that involve England and Tonga, etc., have all been cancelled. So the NRL have already made some fixturing changes before the season started, but it does raise questions about why both codes decided to start seasons in March, and will the NRL have to follow suit because Australia is starting to bring in travel restrictions on non-essential travel domestically in Australia and abroad from Australia. The rest of the world is already a fair bit ahead of Australia when it comes to lockdown in the sense. Now, as someone who lives in the UK, the lockdown came in on Friday. Bars, clubs, restaurants, and non-essential businesses basically are in lockdown. I work in an essential service in the public sector, so I have to go to work. But it does raise the question why the AFL have decided to get the first round out of the way and then go. If travel restrictions were going to be brought in place, I'm assuming the AFL have followed government guidance. The NRL is having a meeting at some point on Monday, so tomorrow for you and me in the UK and Europe, but in Australia, that meeting will be taking place at some point in the afternoon, which will be mid-morning for us over here in Europe, to discuss their next steps. But the AFL suspending operations for 9 weeks, I think, will force the NRL's hand. We know that Cameron Smith has been very vocal about the NRL kicking off the season. He said he was not very happy with that. And we know that the NRL decided to start playing games behind closed doors for round 2. So it'll be interesting to see if the NRL also continues playing or decides to suspend operations very similar to the AFL. We know that NRL and AFL players do regularly mingle because they're pro athletes. They will know each other, especially those players based in Melbourne, Sydney and Queensland in the AFL. We'll have quite a few friends who play NRL as well. So the chances of infection rates. And we've seen it with the NHL and NBA. When the NBA decided to suspend operations, the NHL were a day behind. I cannot see how the NRL can continue to round 3. I think the NRL will have to suspend the league. But we'll see what happens. Place your thoughts below. Were the AFL and the NRL right to start their seasons, considering that in Europe, North America and Asia, seasons in team sports and individual sporting events have basically been put on lockdown? And will the NRL decide to follow suit? I can't see how they can't. Personally, I think it was a very risky decision for them to play the first round of matches in front of fans. I think we'll see what comes out of this meeting between team owners, team CEOs, Players Union and Todd Greenberg, but I can't see anything but a suspension of the NRL. We'll see what happens, but the AFL has decided to lead the way in Australia, and we'll have to see what develops with this NRL meeting. But thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.